when you're in your 20s as a girl, that's the time. When you're in your 30s, then there's a time crunch and the pressure's on, and then it's not as comfortable. The dating is much more pressured and it's not as comfortable. And for guys, you better own your 30s. That's your age. You better make the most out of those 10 years and not waste your time dating the wrong people. And his point was, don't think, I can date for 5 years, even though this is the wrong person for me, and we'll figure it out. No, there's no figure it out. Either she's for you or he's for you or not. And if not, move on. Go to the next one. Make it a focus towards marriage, and that was his whole talk. He himself is not necessarily a religious man. He's definitely, connected, but not necessarily a religious guy. And this was what he spoke about. And people went nuts. I think you can find that on YouTube. I had to cut out some of the. What are you talking about? Anyway, so you're gonna hear this on YouTube. But people went nuts with him because a lot of the girls were like, "Well, it's different. It's not the way it is. You can't have expectations for certain ages. I have a life. I've got so much pressure. I have work. It's not as easy to get a job. And you get to college, and once you finish with school, you already got to try and find a good job. And before you know it, it's not enough time. What do you mean own your 20s? Get married within my 20s? No way. I don't have time. It's too much pressure. What are you talking about?" And it was a back and forth. And at some point, they felt bad for the guy, so they stopped arguing with him. It was all online. And that was the class. So, obviously, as a religious Jew, I agree that we don't have time to waste. I agree with that. And that is true. And I also say like this, if you think about it, and who here has parents that got married at an age way younger than you can ever imagine yourself getting married? Okay.
My dad got married at 38.
38?
Yeah.
That's young. Yeah. I'm 38. Yeah. It's funny. So what happens is a lot of people say, our culture is very different nowadays than the culture beforehand. But the truth is, if you think about a generation ago, or even 2 generations ago, most people were getting married extremely young, like 20, 23. My grandma, I'm not advocating for this, my grandma got married at 13. I told you I'm not advocating for this. She was in Morocco, and
What a lucky man.
a lucky man. Well, I'm here. I told you I'm not advocating for it. But, they allow this? You about to say? Wow. You get a license and get married. It's beautiful. Obviously, things have changed, and I don't agree with that age, but I do agree with this idea that the younger you are, the more flexible you are to bring someone in permanently into your life. That doesn't mean it's not possible later on in time, but the younger you are, the more flexible you are, like a tree. So an older tree, no, I didn't say 13. I didn't say. I knew someone would forget it. Forget it. It's America. You can't talk in America. So, but think about it. A tree, when it's young, what happens? The tree is flexible. The older the tree gets, what happens? It's strong, it's stiff, and it's hard to move. And do you know what happens? When we ourselves get into our own comfort zone, we have our own job, we have our own space, we have our own home. It's not so easy after 30 years of living that way. You've left it, let's say you're 45, 50, and you've already built yourself your own space, your own house, and you've lived in a certain way with your own comfort. Much harder to bring someone in to that most intimate space. You've lived like that with your own peace without giving in or having to compromise to someone else for much, much longer. Does this make sense to anyone? Or? Yeah. So, and again, I'm not saying that I don't necessarily agree that everyone has a time limit or a timeline. Every person is different. And no one should feel that we are saying you have to have pressure in time. What we do have, and what we should feel, is pressure in mindset. That means that I need to grow. Don't say, if I am 35, 40, oh, I'm still not ready for marriage. People are saying when they're 40, I'm still not ready for marriage. 35, I'm not ready for marriage. That's because it's more about the mindset than the position of life you're in. Your job is not perfect. I don't have the best job yet, so I'm not. It's more about the mindset than the place you're in. And that's something which should change, which is that I need to have a mindset that life is short, and I want to make the most out of life. And you see how things have changed over generations. It used to be the 20s, now it's the 30s is normal to get married. And it's getting pushed more and more and more. So that's something to think about. Why am I telling you this? Because everyone was saying there's so much going on. We have, dating is so hard, it takes so much time. Work, there's so much work that they demand of you. There's building your own, account and having enough money to eventually have a home and have a family. There's so much pressure. So they were thinking of all the pressure. But you know what? As time goes on, that pressure never goes away. And okay, even if you make it and you have all the money and the comfort and everything, at some point we had someone who was living opposite us. He wasn't, not here, where we used to live, he was a doctor, beautiful home. He had a beautiful home. And, a doctor, single guy. And he's in his late 30s, 40s. But the problem was he was so focused in his career that dating wasn't even an option till much, much later on in life. And that's not good. Because, okay, you have all the comfort and all the money and all the everything, but how many people are thinking in their head that I want to, at some point in my life, I'm going to get old and I'm going to be alone. No one thinks that. Everyone thinks that at some point as I get older, I'm going to have someone else with me, and I'm going to have my children with me, and I'm going to have a family. Almost everyone thinks that. No one says, or almost no one says, I'm okay with being 80 years old, 70 years old, and alone. Most people don't say that. Most people in their mind, they're thinking, as an old person, I'm going to have a family. That is in the back of your mind. Subconsciously, I will have a family at some point. I will be a grandma like my grandma. I will be a mom like my mom. I'll be a dad. Everyone's thinking that in the back of their mind. So the problem was the pressure of so many things going on. And I could tell you that we have, Baruch Hashem, thank God, a community, a family. There's a lot going on. And, and we never say, oh, it's too much. We're not going to answer the phone to this person. I'm not going to answer the phone to that person. You make time. There are busy people in this world that take on a lot more than most people in this room take on. And you know what? They make it work. That's because you don't even realize the amount of ability you have. You have an ability that's beyond your scope of understanding. And it just takes what we call in Jewish tradition, emunah. If someone has faith, I'm going to do my part. I also need to sleep. I need to work. But working is not my goal. If a person is able to focus, you're able to juggle everything. You'll be able to juggle family. You'll be able to juggle work. You'll be able to juggle it all. Don't think that I have to wait till I'm a certain age for these things to be perfect so that I can do everything else. It doesn't work. And one of the big signs, let's say even in work itself, is if you're not sleeping. Work. How do I know if someone's putting too much effort in his career? Well, simple. You're not eating right. You're not doing everything else right. When someone tells me I'm too busy for work, I'm too busy with my job, I'm sorry, Rabbi, I can't come to any social events. I say, when are you doing social things? I can't. I'm too busy with work. That is a problem. That's too much faith in, I need to get this perfect before I can do anything else. Who says that will be perfect? Who says it's going to get better? Sometimes you invest more money in it, and then, you know what happens? You invest more and more and more, you're stuck more and more into it. And then you just have to spend more time. Or I'm too busy with my dating to focus on other things. That's a problem. If someone is dating one person for too long, in too intense of a way, that's a problem. You can't do anything else. You can't also work and date. Something needs, what that sometimes translates as is there's a lot of problems in this relationship and it's always been trying to be fixed. So you can't have any time to do anything else. Okay, but my point is, I'm not trying to scare you in any way. I'm just trying to show you there's a lot of stuff going on. We have work, we have friends, we have social, and it's not going to get necessarily easier, and we do want to grow in life. We want more in our life. And there's a lot of stuff in every person here in your life that you have as is. And it's only going to get more as you get older. So how do we deal? This is the discussion of today. How do we deal with succeeding in all of them? Anyone here have been through a time where it was too much work, you don't have time for dating? Too focused in work, no time for dating. Yeah, it's happened. Too focused in work, no time for working out. Has that happened? So how do we fix that? Don't work out?
Go work out.
Just go work out. You said go work out or don't work out?
But it's important. No, you gotta make time. If it's important to you, you'll make time for it.
That's right.
The problem is some things that you're looking for, you don't find the importance in it.
There you go.
To make the time.
Right. Work is very important to me, but I believe most people here think, dating is important too. But the problem is they also say in their mind that I can't date unless something else is perfect. I need my first earlier stages to be perfect. I need to have the perfect career, the perfect job in order to continue in my dating. And this is a big problem. Don't look for perfection in every area. Put in your effort in every area. I'm not saying try and grab everything. The rabbis say, tafasta meruba lo tafasta. If you try and grab everything, you have nothing at the end. Okay? But there's some people that are working out three times a day. There's someone that came to tell me how he works out 3 times a day. How do you do anything else? That's painful. You've got to let the body heal. So the same with work. There's people that are overworking, and there's people that are, and what the biggest issue is, I think they want other stuff. The people that are overworking want to be healthy. The problem is they put too much faith in work. They're not putting faith in other things. Meaning, I'm going to put my effort in work, but I don't need to work 24 hours in order to succeed. If I'm going beyond what's normal in work, there's something wrong with the way I'm doing it. And that's something that someone needs to think about big time. If I'm spending 13 hours working, I don't care who it's for, it's not healthy. I understand it can happen for a day or two because there's certain, let's say, what's it called? An accountant. So there's certain times where he's very, very busy and that's the income for the year. I get it. I get that happens. But from a Jewish perspective, as a religious man, you've got shul. You've got to go to shachrit. You've got to put tefillin on first. There's got to be the basic ways of life first. It's so important. If somebody is overly obsessed in one area, they are not healthy. And we need to ask ourselves, what is it that I'm overly obsessed with so that I can manage all the other things? There's a class that someone came to give once, which is about work-life balance, and he was talking about the 5 different things that you need to give to have work-life balance. I think before we even work on work-life balance, there needs to be a shift in mindset. The shift in mindset is work is not God. Right? It's important for me. I need to be able to make money, but I'm going to do my effort and I'm going to stop. Dating is important for me, but I'm going to do my effort and I'm going to stop. I'm not going to go crazy on these apps. And every option that comes to me, I'm going to have to look at it. How can I not swipe? I first need to see. Boom, boom. A person could be swiping all day. There's no end. And then they tell me there's no one in LA. Can you hear this? There's no one in LA. You're swiping all day. There's no one in LA. There's so many people in LA. The problem is because there's no faith. You put your faith into finding someone. You put your whole faith into finding that perfect job. No. In Judaism, put your faith in God and you do your part and the rest will come. This is the story of Jewish success. That, by the way, that's why we have Shabbat. What's Shabbat? I put my 6 days into work and then I don't care what happens. Don't say, oh, there's some people that say, you could do Shabbat Sunday. You could do Shabbat Monday. What does Judaism say? It's a set day. There's no changing it around, because if you change it around, then your work is your God. And we don't want that to happen. You are a slave in Egypt, it says. What does it say when it says, remember Shabbat? Keep Shabbat, because you were once slaves in Egypt. If you are a slave in Egypt, then that controls when your day is and when your free day is, not in Judaism. We need to have one day where we took to ourselves, whatever, ma'am, dude, you gotta stop. You gotta just put it all down and do your own thing. This is not healthy. And we do that every single week. And I don't care what your reason is. You might have a crazy Wild West party in your house, but then the lights and the music has to go off. Why? I had to run to the shower half drunk, or very drunk, and came out for Shabbat. It was the craziest experience. But I told Shira we should be doing this every week. Pre-game, alcohol, drinks, and a little food, so no one's hungry for the meal. Because when people are hungry, everyone's looking for a seat. So they're worried about their food. So get the pre-game, lots of food and drinks and whatever. Party, music, Wild West. It could be whatever you want, as long as it's kosher. And then the time comes, turn the music off. We're going to the tent. I think it's brilliant. Shira, what do you think? Too much work. Okay. Any donors want to get involved in this thing?
Adam told me he'll be a donor for next week.
Oh, perfect.
On the boat, next week on the boat.
Okay, why am I telling you all of this? And what's that to do with this time of the year? Because we, the Jews, are coming out of Egypt. We were the birth of the nation, and we're starting Passover. You know Passover's in 3 weeks? You ready? Okay, so Passover's coming up. Lots of matzah. You've got to start working out from now so you can handle the carbs and stretch well before. So anyway, Pharaoh, according to Maimonides, this is one of the things that we learn about Pharaoh. He represents what? He represents evil in you. The evil inclination in you. Listen to this. Pharaoh, this is what Maimonides says, that Pharaoh is the birth of the Jewish people, and you have Pharaoh. This dude, he was a little one amahai. He was a very short man, and he was like a living God. Everyone worshipped him. He was a living God. We don't understand what a monarch is. And this is even before that. This is like the pharaohs in Egypt. It was just a piece of gold. That's how they treated him. So Pharaoh in Jewish teaching was considered as the Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara means the evil inclination, or the nefesh habehamit, the animal soul in you that's pulling you away from the right focus of life. And we all have that. We have the spiritual soul and the animal soul. The animal soul says, sleep in, don't get up. The neshama in you, the soul says, get up, come on man, jump. Right, when you're happy, what do? Jump. When you're happy, what do? You smile, you want to go up. When you're sad, everything goes down. So the neshama in you is joy, is happiness. It wants to go, it wants to produce, it wants to do. And the body in you, like it's physical. What happens to physical when you're thrown in the air? It goes back to the ground. What happens when you are tired? You want to go on the ground. In your bed, but Right, so you are fighting physically your soul, which elevates you, and your body, which kind of grounds you and pulls you down. After you eat, whenever you feed the body, what happens after you eat a lot? You want to go down. Whenever you're happy and you hear good news, what do? You want to get up. Whenever you're sad, you want to go down. Sadness has to do with the Yetzer Hara, with the evil inclination. If you are sad, know that that's the negative force in you that's talking. And say, go away. Stop it. Right? And I'm going to be happy. So the neshama in you, the soul, makes you happy. The body aspect of you, there's a good part of your body also. That's another discussion. But the body aspect of you, meaning the pull down in you, that is the negative force. And Pharaoh represents that. So what happens to the Jewish people? We sent Moses, and Moses God told me to tell you, let my people go. Shlach ami v'ya'avduni. Send my people, and they will serve me. They will serve God. And what it says, v'yachogli. They will celebrate. We will celebrate to God. Like we'll get high in the desert and happy. And what does he say? What does Pharaoh say back? Who is God that I should listen to him? Do you know why? Because Pharaoh said, I am God. Just like in you, the negative force says, I am in control. But the good force says, no. And inside of you, like Pharaoh said, Hashem li v'ani asitani. Or li ye'ori v'ani sitani. The river is me. The river is from me. Meaning the river of the Nile River in Egypt, that's where they get all their water from. Without the Nile River, and he says, I made myself. I am God. He treated himself like he was God. Ani v'afsi od. It's only me, nothing else. That's what he said, these words. Me, this is his model, his understanding. This is the way he spoke. Me, and everything else is nothing. So that's what the Yetzer Hara does to our head. It tells us that it's all me and everything else is nothing. I am right. So he says, who is God? And what happens after that? Does anyone know what happens? This is the first time Moses goes to Pharaoh. Do you know what he says? He says, Nirpimhem. These Jews have too much time in their hands. They've got too much time to think. Do you know what I'm going to do? Give them more work. How does he give us more work? He says, I'm not providing you with the bricks anymore. You've got to find a way to take straw and produce your own bricks. Make your own bricks. You have too much time in your head. You're working 12 hours a day as slaves. You need to work for 14 hours because if you have time to think, that's why you're saying you want freedom. Freedom means you have time. And I don't want you to have time. I want you to be so busy that you don't have time to think. And what does the evil inclination in us do? It doesn't let us think. It gets us so busy with so many things, it doesn't let us focus on our purpose of life. Work, next thing, dating, boom, boom, wow. It's just like, whoa! From the time I get out of school, boom, 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 and it gets me busy. It doesn't give me time to think. Okay? So that's what the Pharaoh in us is also. And then we have technology. That's another whole, it's like not thinking on steroids. So now we have technology, and for sure we don't think. Even when you have free time, you don't have free time. Because the minute you sit down, Instagram, look at this person, oh, look at that, Ishlet, great marketing, woo! Right? And then you start flicking through, and then again swipe, and then off the swipes you go back to TikTok somehow, and then you get a link to Twitter, and all hell breaks loose. Okay, so that's how it works. We all face non-stop things that distract us. See? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Things that drive us crazy. So this is why is it like this? Why is the world so challenging? Work, dating, everything's thrown at you from the minute you finish school. So listen to what Mesilat Yesharim, the path of the just, which was written about 300 years ago, says. God put every person in this world with many things that push us very far away from spirituality and connecting to Him. And what is it? All our desires. We get so many desires that are pushing us in all different ways. We've got money and work and dating, and then we get pulled into the wrong person even. It's not even a person for me, but never mind. At least it's comfortable. Oh, and then you go into it, and then you break up. Oh no. And then you get into another date, and then another person. After 3 months, you're like, I'm not dating again for another 4. I'm not doing it for a year. I'm not dating. Within 3 months, the guy's dating again, right? And then hopefully it's a Jewish girl, because if it's a non-Jewish girl, he's not showing up anymore to Ishlit. That's what happens. So, and so on and so forth. So look what he says. We get so busy. So he says, we're put in a world called a very strong war. This world is a war. It's the biggest battle. Because everything about this world, good or bad, is a challenge. If somebody is poor, he's challenged. Why? He's not got enough money. What's his challenge?
Money.
I need to get money. I need to get a better job. Someone told me, I can't come to Ishlit. I need to get a job. I said, but maybe someone will find you a job here. There's other people that are maybe in a similar field to you. They can connect you. Do you know how many people found their job through our house? I'm promoting myself right now. Do you know how many people? I don't even know. Okay, so you've got poverty on one side. What's the guy that's stuck or no job or is challenged with money because he doesn't have enough? He's always thinking, why didn't I have this car? I'm jealous. I wish I did have more. I wish I had a better... I need a job. I can't think of anything else. His mind is focused on getting more money and a better job. What about the wealthy guy? Do you know what he's got? Oh, he needs to count his money. Do you know counting money takes time? You've got a whole wad of cash. Psst, you have to count. That takes time. It's a lot of work. Seriously, when you have a lot of money, what do you have? Do you know what you have? You have all your properties that you have to look after. You have all your clients, all the people that you hire. Anyone who's making money knows that you have a lot of stress. You're hiring people, you have to pay them on time, you have to make sure all the things are coming on time. There's a lot of work when you make money. If you own a business, a lot of people cannot own a business. Their mind can't handle all the pressure of running a business. They'd rather just be employed for someone and get $200,000 wage. They might be geniuses, but running a business, not for me. I know someone who became a dentist and he tried to open a dental business. He said, it's a whole world I didn't know about. He couldn't handle it. He went back to being employed by someone else. It's not easy to be in the business world where you run the business itself. That's challenging. So if you are very successful, you're not employed and you have your own company, you have worries. There's a lot in your head. So do you have time? If you're running a business, I know someone who opened a business and he's so busy with it right now that he's losing the girl he's dating and they are so made for each other. But he keeps telling her, I'm too busy. I just started a new business. I'm too busy. I can't. And she's like, please, give me time. They were meant to get married already a year ago. But now he opened a new business. Business. And this girl that's so for him is waiting. And she can't wait that long. Do you get it? Sometimes when we're so focused on something else, we lose the blessings that we have around us. We don't see them. So we can't let that happen. So this is the challenge. Everywhere you go, you're challenged. He says, on one hand, people have calmness. That's a challenge. You know, when things are too calm, then you start getting ideas in your head. You know what? Life is so good. You know, let me try this drug. Right? And then they say, I'm not promoting everything. And then they say, life is so good. Let me go on this trip and jump off a cliff. And then they forget to take the parachute or whatever. Right? We have a lot of problems with people that are very calm. Like their life is very tranquil and they're doing well. But then there's problems with someone who has a lot of challenges. Suddenly, his grandparents passed away. Suddenly, his parents lost money. Those people have a lot of challenges. All of a sudden, wow, they can't think of anything else. Every person, no matter where you look, you are facing a battle. Whether you're in front of you, behind you, you're after a battle, you're about to get in a battle, we're all facing a battle. This is the great Chovat HaLevavot, one of the great authors of Musar, of ethics. He said, he brings down a parable of a soldier, a bunch of soldiers that are coming home after war, and they won. And the sergeant, the head of the group, says to all the soldiers, he says to them, guys, well done. We won the battle. But now we have the real battle. And that's going home and facing our day-to-day Yetzer Hara, our day-to-day inclination. That war that we won, we just about survived, but we won it. That's nothing in comparison to the inner war that everyone has here. In Jewish teaching, the biggest war that happens is here. Not out there, not in the battles, not in the fields. In the fields where there's a real battle, you may lose your life. Here, you are struggling internally, imploding. And that's a whole different level. Okay, that's another whole different thing that's going on. So what does he say? Wherever you go, you are facing a battle. And then, I was talking about your inner battle. Oh, forget about 2025. We have a war going on. We have people that you know, Jews, anti-Semitism. These are all external battles. Then other issues. And then dating is just like weird right now, right? Because people are crazy. So you have no time to think. You have no time to think. And what are we doing? We forget the purpose of our life. We forget why we are here. We are so busy with all these things. We all forget. This is what he says. We all forget the purpose of life. So he says like this. We are like Pharaoh. And by the way, this is not just for people, anyone. It's for even the rabbis. You can have a rabbi that's busy with his shul, or a rabbi that's busy doing mitzvot, and he's forgetting his whole purpose of being here, which is to connect. To really sit down and connect and be grateful and connect to God. Even the greatest rabbis can have this challenge. This is what he says in Mesilat Yesharim. Even the most religious guy that's busy with a mitzvah, and he's doing a sukkah, and he's very busy with it, he's not focused on why is he even in this world. Forgets his purpose. And we must never forget the purpose in this world. And this is what Solomon says. I'll finish with this, and I'll tell you also a story. Solomon says that this world is very attractive. And he says, why did God make this world so attractive? Think about it. He says, Gam et ha'olam natan belibam. God put the whole world in your hearts. You want to know about everything, and it's interesting to you. You see news, you're like, whoa. And then another news, whoa. And then you hear about what happened in England, yo. And then, I don't know. And then, so there's always something going on in England. And then there's something in Israel. And you just, your eyes are focused. It's insane how we have a tremendous interest in the world as human beings. Not only are we interested in the world, the way that the world works, if you walk in the street, it flashes at you. It's like flashing lights. You know, when you see flashing lights, you're like, whoa. That's what the world does to you. You have trees of all different types of fruits and foods. You don't just have one food. You have all different types of colorful foods. You open the fridge, whoa, what am I eating today? And you've got the tacos, and then you throw on top the beans and the rice. There's a whole taco going on. That's life. It's a taco. Taco Tuesday is your whole life, right? That's what it's my life. But you get what I'm saying? The world isn't just one type of food. It's very attractive to you. And it's like that for a reason. God made this world extremely attractive. Why? In order to distract us from why we are in this world. Why did God create this world? No one's thinking about that. We're so busy with life, we get what we call hesech hadat. We disconnect in our mind from my purpose in this world. We don't think about why am I in this world. We don't connect. We don't be grateful. We don't spend time to be grateful and connect to God and actually think, close the door and say, wow, I have money in my account. It might not be $1 million. It might not be even $100,000, but I have a few dollars in my account. It's pretty nice, right? You can actually close your eyes and start thinking about the good things, but we don't do it. I have friends, I have people I know. Let's go through it. I have family. We don't do the basics of gratitude. You know why? Because we're so busy with the running, we don't have time to think. This is what he says. So this is the challenge of life that every person has. And this world is very, very attractive. On one hand, to distract us, but also, on the other hand, God made it very, very attractive in order for us to want it. He made it extremely attractive in order for us to connect to it. Because that's the way that we can get connected to God. We have all these different things in the world, different types of fruits. It's a distraction to us, because we're so busy trying to pursue all of it. We want it all, and we face all the problems of the world. We're interested in all the problems. You do not have to read the news about the problems that happen in England and the problems that happen in Denmark, and your life wouldn't be that different if you know about all the problems of every politics, of every country in every world. We don't need in all the world. But our desire is to be attracted to everything. Why? Because we are tested. The distraction is the test in itself, but it's also a way to connect. The beauty of the world, in one hand, is a distraction. On the other hand, is a way to connect to God. This is what it says. Et hakol asa yafa be'ito. This is a Talmud in Brachot. Everything God did was beautiful at its time. To tell me that God made everything very attractive, so we should enjoy it and connect to Him. If it wasn't attractive, we wouldn't be grateful. We wouldn't even have what to be grateful for. So it's also attractive, but it's also a distraction. This is the challenge of life. Okay, this is your challenge, all of us. And what is our mission? What is our mission? To not let the test get to you. This is what he says. When you really look deeply into the world, you'll see that true perfection of your life will be to really cling to God. Do you know what that means? Clinging to God, sitting down a few hours every day and appreciating everything that's in this world and that was given to you. That is your mission, to connect to God through gratitude, to connect to Him. Wow. All of the running around, I need to connect. I need to be grateful for a minute. I can't just keep running around and forget. I need to spend some time to be grateful for my family, for things I have, for the basics. And then I can move on and get more and pursue more. But the gratitude needs to be there. That's what he says. Tistakel bedavar. True perfection is clinging to God. And we can only do that really in the next world. And how do we cling to God? By thinking. We do mitzvot, good deeds, but we also think, I am connecting right now to my soul, to my spiritual self. This is the way a person achieves his purpose in the world. And what happens? A person like this, who spends his time focused, will never get pulled away by too much work, by too much dating. No, I put my effort into dating. You don't have to date every option that gets thrown at you. That is insane. I think that's also a problem. Every girl that gets offered to you, you have to date. No. Or every guy that gets offered to you, you have to date because he's a guy. No, that's not how it works. You have to see who you are as a person, what values you have, and which values are going to be compatible to you. So that way, you won't waste your time with people that are not for you. That's why when it comes to dating, the more clarity you have within yourself, the easier it is to date. Because you cannot date the whole world. But when you have clarity within yourself, you can date the right person. Because you know exactly what I want. Oh, this person really is similar to me. They don't just play hockey like I do. They're actually similar to me on a deep level. And how do you know if someone's similar to you on a deep level? If you're deep within yourself. If you know deeply within yourself who you are. And that's by spending time, not running around with life, but actually really internalizing, who am I? What am I here for? What is my purpose of life? Is my purpose of life just to have a good job and have a lot of money? What is my purpose? When someone is grounded that way, then they're actually elevated. You think you're grounded, but you're actually on a very high space. You're connected to God. And that's really the highest level. I want to tell you a story. Just came out this week. Eliyahu HaKohen, he was in captivity for over 500 days. You heard the story? Eliyahu HaKohen was in captivity for 500 days in Gaza, underground, I don't know what, poor guy. So he said that 3 years ago, he started with a terrible problem. He was always a DJ and did a lot of music and played, disco-style trance music. I think that's what you call it. And he was all over, he went from place to place all over Israel. And already 3 years ago, he was so into his work, and so deep into it, and he got into this world of stress, he had his first epileptic fit. He passed out and his whole body started whatever, and it was his first experience that it ever happened to him. And of course, he went to get help, and he was getting help for it. And he says, as soon as that happened also, It started happening multiple times. And then so other stuff started happening. His grandparents died. One thing crazy after the next. Boom, 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 boom. And then he goes to Nova. He's part of the music festival, and he gets taken captivity. And he's with some of his friends in the tunnels, and he's telling them the story. 3 years ago, just randomly, everything was going well, money was doing well, this whole epileptic thing happened, and ever since, my life went downhill, and now look where I am. That's what he was telling his friends. He says, I never understood what it was. And that's what he was telling his friends. And he says that now he got freed, he got rescued. Why was he chosen? He says that his mother, this is what he says and this is what he believes, his mother used him, and she kept proving to, whenever she went to the prime minister, to Netanyahu, that her son, Eliah, has a real epilepsy problem and he needs to be rescued first. He's also a hostage, but he needs to be one of the first hostages to come out. He has a real problem. He can't stay there. He has a medical issue. And she fought this with the Red Cross as well. And that was one of the reasons that he was pushed out to come out earlier before some of the other hostages. And we know, unfortunately, we hope they're all free. But there's still hostages now, and we're praying for Israel. Israel's back in war right now. And he says that 3 years ago he was asking, why are all these problems happening? Why did I get epilepsy? Why did that happen to me? And he thinks and he believes that that challenge was actually the reason why he was pulled out of Gaza earlier. It was because of the epilepsy that happened 3 years ago that he got taken out earlier. He believes that that was the reason. So my belief is that even when you are facing challenges, and everyone faces challenges, everyone, we have to have emunah. We have to have faith, we have to let go. We put in our part, and then we let go. We do our part when it comes to work, we let go. We do our part when it comes to dating, and we let go. It can never be an addictive world. That is not Judaism. Judaism, everything needs to be in balance, never in the addictive department. You put in your part, you stop, and you move on to something else. And we can do it. We can do a lot more than you think. You can have a family, children, a world, a job, a lot. Much more than you can imagine. How? Because of this mindset, that I'm going to do my part, but I'm also going to be mature about the things that don't work. Anyway, I hope that was good, and we should only hear good news from Israel and the Jewish people. My nephew's thank you. My nephew's at the borders of Gaza right now, so hopefully everything goes well with him, and we're praying for everyone else, all the Jewish people. Any questions, thoughts, feelings? Yes?
How do you fight the evil inclination?
Okay. I'll get back to you a second.
You talked about finding clarity with who you are, but you also mentioned that one of the things we have to fight as we get older is a certain level of rigidity because we get set in our ways with things. So where's that balance between finding this, that who you are and being comfortable with who you are and everything that comes with that, but also still having that flexibility?
That's a very good question. There's two different things. Knowing who you are does not mean you're stubborn in your certain way. It's a separate thing. When I say knowing who you are means what are your values as a person. That's very important. As a person, to know your values. You could be very young and have strong values. You could be very old and have no values, and also be a very stubborn person. I'm not talking about the fact that you know who you are, and for you it's really important to go hiking once a week. That's not necessarily a value. It's important. It's a nice thing to do, but I'm talking about personality-wise. When you date someone, that's when you really get to see who you are. Sometimes you face someone and they question you, and suddenly you really grind inside of yourself, who am I? There's two aspects. I'm talking about your personality. When I say know who you are, your real inner values. This is nothing to do. You should always have that strong and work on it as much as you can. For me, as a Jew, it's Shabbat. connecting to God, the idea that what I just spoke about, of not being too addicted to things, these are all values. Then there's also being stuck in your way. Like, I like my window open. And I don't care who's going to be in my room or in my house. The windows have to be open. Well, when you marry someone, you've got to be flexible for them. These are semantics that you need to be flexible with because you have good values. If you have good values, you will be flexible with those things. So I think that there's two separate things. One is values that you need to work on and have clarity in. And the other thing is just a certain way of living that you do not need to be stuck with and you should be flexible with when it comes to living with someone else. If that makes sense. Values, work on. Being stuck in your way, which is not a value, you don't have to, you will be stuck in your way over time. There's no question, you can't change it. But when you have strong values, you'll be able to accept someone else in your life and compromise to them. Yeah. Oh, he asked, well, how do you overcome, Adam, how do you overcome your Yetzer Hara? There's actually a big argument in the rabbis about this. Some say you fight it, and some say you do more good. Because it says in one pasuk, in the verse, it says, Su mera ve'aseh tov. Get out of bad and do good. It's like somebody who's got new boots, and he's in the marsh, he's in the dirt land. And every time he lifts his foot, he's like, I got new boots. Why are they dirty? He starts cleaning them. Then he puts it down, and he starts cleaning this one. What happens to that one? It gets dirty. You can't do that. Get out of the mud, then clean your boots, and talk about being clean. Right? Get out of the space that you're in, and then clean your boots. And then another opinion is, no, do more good. Do more mitzvot, more good, more charity, and that will elevate you as a whole. And I think that you should do both. That's really the answer. Do more good. At the same time, if there's a space you're in that's negative and bad for you, then get out of it. If you know that you're with people that are bringing down and bringing out within you your Yetzer Hara, like let's say, I was talking about laziness before. They just sit down on the couch, they lift their legs up, they smoke pot, and they don't, I know someone's getting angry. Right? They smoke pot and they don't do anything with their life. So then don't be around those people. That's what you do on Sunday afternoon? No. I'm going to learn Torah with the rabbi. Call me up and you'll learn with me, okay? Great. Okay. Learn with me on Sunday instead of, I'm just joking, whatever. Call of Duty. So there's two things. One is get out of your space, which is negative, and another is do more good in your life. That's how you overcome it.
Where are you supposed to go?
Huh?
Where are you supposed to go?
3 times a day.
What do you mean?
If you have nowhere to go, where are you supposed to go?
What do you mean you have nowhere to go? You have nowhere to go? You come here. You come here for Shabbat, no? During the week, you make the right friends. There's shul. You can go learn in synagogue. You can do, there's a lot to do. Ooh, there's a lot to do. There's Jewish events. There's a lot of Jewish events going on. Depends on your level. But something which is positive, which is growth orientated. Anyone else? Robert's got a good question. Yeah, I think we're done. Okay. Shkoyach.